Good afternoon and welcome to UnitedTV with our Bariatric Friday episode. So we have Dr. Irgau joining me today, and we are gonna go with our why patients drop out of the bariatric programs, and we are gonna try to answer some of these concerns and try to relate to some and see how we can overcome these problems and what would be the best course of action when things are not going well. So one thing that I forgot to do is sending my message. So I was just doing that. So sorry about that. Let me just do this. Then we can always cut this part, right? All right, it's coming. Right. So I think it's all your fault because you asked me to remove the screen. Yep. So it's okay. We can just blame you for these. Now we'll continue why we drop out of the live session. So why we drop out, why patients drop out of the bariatric program. So our goal is to have 14, 15 regular topics that we have. And we want to kind of circulate these in two different time frame, the first and second half of the year. Next week, we are going to take a break from the regular cycle, and then we are going to go to one of the issues that we always discuss, overeating, eating disorder. Now, anyone with the misperception and misunderstandings, they may say that, well, morbid obesity is overeating or eating disorder, but yes and no, and that's we are going to actually take that from not just from morbid obesity standpoint, but we are going to look at it from anyone else who may have bulimia and anorexia, and those are also eating disorders. So we are going to discuss that next week with Dr. Irgau, and there are some really famous celebrities we know that they are struggling, and hopefully you'll find it very interesting. And it's going to be a little bit different than what we normally do with the educational sessions, outside of the educational sessions. So what we know with the bariatric surgery, there's a lot of misunderstandings, and many patients, we are going to welcome Dr. Irgau. I did it already, but I don't see him on the screen, and here he is. Dr. Irgau, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kemal. It's great to be back for another wonderful session of Bariatric Friday.
Thank you. So because between the two episodes, we didn't have any, from my 2 p.m., didn't have any breaks, so I was just going, if I was solo, sorry about that. So
No
it's
problem.
good to have you back.
Thank you.
And last week we had a really good session with Dr. Hoy.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
especially I
excellent.
think would you rather part, right? That was pretty interesting. So he's funny. So, and we have our rated with Dr. Irgau at the end of this today.
Wonderful.
So we struggled with misunderstandings and misperceptions and deliberate misleading in morbid obesity. And, interesting enough, just I was watching something yesterday, and I think I'm going to bring that up next week. It's about Oprah making a real statement, but she is totally misunderstood, and I'm not going to give all the information now. What was so interesting, actually, what she was trying to say, which she shouldn't, because she's not you. So you are a clinician, she's not. So she didn't say it in the right way. So we are going to help her next week with Dr. Irgau is going to help Oprah to better frame the statement that she was trying to say, because this is where we know our limits. So I'm not a clinician, and you are a clinician. You are a licensed surgeon or certified. I'm not. So everyone needs to know where to stop and have those boundaries and respect those boundaries.
Absolutely.
And now many patients enter bariatric programs with quick expectations, like fast expectation, and they often underestimate the discipline, structure, lifestyle changes, lifelong responsibility that's required during this process. When exceptions collide with reality, diet changes and behavioral work, we see some disengaging early on with some of these patients. I think the hard question here is why do unrealistic expectations cause patients to drop out before surgery?
Yeah, in a way, bariatric surgery is a victim of its own success, particularly in the last 15, 20 years. Bariatric surgery, in terms of its safety, has achieved such high levels that it's considered as safe as many common procedures like gallbladder surgery, right? And then the results are fantastic. People who have bariatric surgery, sail through without complication in the vast majority of cases, and they do great. They lose weight, their comorbidities disappear. And when people see that, they think, of course, this is something I can do without any problem. But of course, in the background, there is commitment, there is accountability. And when those things surface, in the process, then people understand that they really haven't considered how much is required from them as well in terms of commitment to change their lifestyle, to be committed to eating healthy, to be committed to regular physical activity. And those things hit suddenly, and people then, withdraw because they don't feel they are prepared for those commitments.
So the psychological part of this is another issue that we see. Obesity is rarely just about food. And, you and I, we have so many different sessions, and, I assume that everyone around me already watches these, and guess what? That's not the case. So, including family members, and because this is not about food. I had Elvan Odabaşı. You have watched the Turkish dietitian who was there. She said something very interesting um, about this issue of, and I use your phrase on this one, where like in the old days we can't just keep eating and eating like unlimited, right? So that's not who we are. So
Right.
The problem is we can stop eating.
Yes.
So, and she said, if you are not able to fulfill your need in life, the plate is not going to make you full. So I'm just translating just now. I should have.
It makes sense.
So
It makes sense.
So you are missing something
Right.
in life. So
Right.
then you are kind of redirecting your energy, your focus to food.
Yes.
Oh, my connection
Pleasure.
to these
Dopamine.
issues. right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when she said that, I'm like, wow, like that actually was really nice the way that she phrased it. So, but this is one of the psychological, emotional parts. So the emotional eating, trauma, stress, coping, and long-standing habits surface once food volume is restricted. So, how does mental and emotional readiness impact program completion?
Well, essentially, psychological readiness is not a formality, it's really foundational. Once patients really feel that they're not ready to confront what may be emotional drivers, behind some of the eating behaviors, often feel exposed and not really ready to confront them, and then withdraw instead of doing, deeper work to understand this. It is so important, of course, that, as you know, in our program, everybody is required to undergo a psychological evaluation. And that doesn't stop there. Psychological support must be there for the long term as well, because those drivers could come up, as you said, for instance. In your example, you were mentioning that if you feel unfulfilled in a certain way, then you could reach out to food as a way to get pleasure or get out from that sense of not being fulfilled. And that can happen. And we see that. And we see that, for instance, when patients, even years after bariatric surgery, start gaining weight. And if you really dig deep and try to understand what's going on, very often a life event might have happened. It could be a divorce. It could be a loss of a loved one. It could be, being let go from their job that they've been for many, many years. All those issues create enough stress. Then people reach out to food as a way to comfort them. And of course, the foods that they're going to reach out are going to be foods that are not nutritional. They're going to be driving insulin resistance, and they can regain weight as well. So having a good foundation and understanding and readiness of what the psychological drivers are behind many of the issues that we struggle with is very important for our patients. And that's why we implement psychological evaluation as well as psychological support post-surgery as well.
So another issue is the fear, and as surgery gets closer, fear escalates, and fear of complications, fear of change, fear of losing food as coping mechanism, and the fear of success itself. These are another reality. We see patients when they complete everything, like 12 different steps that they need to complete, they do, and 2 weeks before the surgery, they're like, oh, it's not going to happen. And we see those patients coming back to us 6, 7, 8 months later. The only problem is they come back heavier
Yes.
than where they were.
Yes.
But this fear is real. So how often does fear, rather than medical disqualification, cause dropouts?
I think it does play a role. It does play a role. Really, it is, in a way, fear of the unknown, which is a very human and natural way to approach something you don't know and you don't understand, right? Because they're looking at something that will be in the future, right? It could be the surgery itself, it could be the general anesthesia, and as you said, it could be unknowns that they cannot quantify in terms of how different their life will be after bariatric surgery.
Right.
They may not say, I am scared necessarily, but they quietly may miss appointments, they may not answer to our calls, and then, kind of disappear from the radar, essentially. So I do think that there is some degree, but it's really our job also to educate patients as much as possible, because as I said before, fear is about the unknown. And once you really clarify things and make patients understand how safe general anesthesia is in this day and age, how safe bariatric surgery has become over the years, and also that their life actually will be transformed in the better, rather than missing foods or not being able to eat everything in their sight, right? When they understand this and then they contrast this with the life that they are conducting right now, right, where they're struggling day in and day after with the ravages of morbid obesity, then they are going to be overcome the fear as well. So fear certainly is there, and it's understandable, and it's our job to really make sure patients understand fully. And they may still decide to withdraw, and that's okay. But as you said, very often, unfortunately, morbid obesity is there, and it's a lot worse. And then perhaps they will come back the second time round and go through the process.
Absolutely. So another issue that we see is the program fatigue and process overload. So this is something that we overcome for our patients, because you and I, we build a program that actually from the beginning of the process to the surgery and even after the surgery, we are hand-holding with our patients and doing a lot of things on their behalf, their appointment, their follow-ups, their questions, and we have our daily case conferences, but this can be still overwhelming because of the number of clearances that they need to get. So is the length and the structure of the bariatric process a reason for patients to disengage?
Well, if patients don't have a strong support and guidance, really they may feel buried in all those requirements that they are faced with, right? So, and that may be so overwhelming for them that they may decide to give up, at least, in the first round. It is up to us again to make sure they understand the why for every step, right? Why do we need to see cardiology? Why is it important to see a psychologist? Why is it important to have nutritional sessions? Why is it important to have endoscopy? Why is it important to have blood work or a sleep study if a patient is suspected of sleep apnea? Once we explain the why, then patients will understand that this is actually for their benefit and for their safety, and they are much more likely to buy into that.
So another issue that we know patients may be going through, which with the higher deductibles, and in some of these plans, like the deductible is so outrageous, and I understand why patients would have issues with that. But even with still some insurance, some employers, not the insurance, but the employers not covering for this service, I think it's maybe creating some problems. The way that insurances are mandating, I'll kind of explain one of the reasons why patients are dropping out. So this is kind of like my expertise, so I'll use that as an opportunity. So things get so outrageous with the insurance requests in some cases, and we even for our office when we send documentation for medical records for the authorization, and the time that the turnaround, how quickly they process, it takes sometimes 3, 4, 5 weeks, and for some service that is already covered by the plan,
Yep.
they don't approve because some medical director flags this, or they have to flag because they have to meet some statistics. So, and then surgeon has to spend time
Yeah.
for a peer review, and that also is probably adding a lot. And I think this whole issue of deductible, it's just completely outrageous. Now, the good news is we do this in the surgery center setting, and at American Surgery Center, this same procedure is costing less for those patients. Does it help with the deductibles? Probably not, but it at least it can be planned. It can be like a payment plan can be in place. So we because we are working directly with the patients one on one, and in bigger organizations this doesn't happen at the personal level. So I think our patients, and again when we have this dropout, we don't have this problem anymore.
Sure.
So because of the structure that you and I we build,
Yep.
because we have our database, we have our structure of the case
Yep.
conferences, our care managers.
Yep.
So we don't have this problem, but the industry is still struggling because we were not able to make our point clear to some of the hospital systems in Delaware. So, and that's why we are doing what we are doing on
Absolutely.
our own. So
Absolutely.
now, another issue that I see is lack of immediate weight loss before surgery. And some patients expect rapid weight loss once they enter a bariatric program. When pre-op weight loss is slow, our weight fluctuates. In some cases, they may even gain weight. So that's why they are to begin with, right? So, and then they see these as a kind of failure patients. Does slow pre-operative weight loss discourage patients?
It can, and that may be also reinforced by certain requirements by insurance companies where they expect patients to lose weight before bariatric surgery. It does not really make any sense to expect patients to lose weight before bariatric surgery, because if they could lose weight, then they wouldn't need bariatric surgery in the first place. But sometimes there are expectations from patients as well, based on this type of perspectives, that they enter the program and they expect them, to start losing weight, forgetting how many times they've tried the same thing and have never been successful. So the fact that the patient cannot lose weight in the pre-surgery program is in fact a much stronger reason for that patient to have bariatric surgery. It should not be a reason for them to drop out if you think about it, right? Because it's yet again demonstrating that nothing else is working for this patient. Bariatric surgery is the absolute necessity. So yes, that also can be create a sense of discouragement, saying, oh, if I haven't been able to lose weight in this preoperative diet, then maybe I'm not going to be able to lose weight with bariatric surgery as well, really missing completely the way bariatric surgery itself works and how much more powerful it is than many other interventions.
And the part of the failure is, I think the person who's going through the process, in some cases, they don't really trust the process. So we've been talking about this, and I even talked about this last week. My discussions with one of our dietitians in the last 3 months made a huge impact on the way that I do things, and I change a lot of things. And we were claiming that we know everything. And that, I think one of the advice that I have for our patients is, when you are with one of our providers, surgeon, nutritionist, bariatrician, stop pretending like you know anything. Just try to get the information and process it and understand that you are doing something wrong. So that's why we are there to begin with. So our providers can definitely help with even that initial, like you have so many patients. In fact, one of them, my project kind of delayed now, I think 1 month. She lost 90 pounds. She was 490 pounds and she's down to 406, and that was 8 months
That's great.
before the surgery.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we utilize different approaches to bring the patients. One of the issue with the weight loss that we require, especially with the higher BMI, is the fatty, non-alcoholic fatty liver.
Yeah,
So like
non-alcoholic.
your
Yeah.
liver is, pressing on your stomach, and it's a mess. So then, if we can shrink that, that's one of the goals that we have with
Absolutely.
surgery. But we see a lot of good results, like enough there to say that this is the most effective and magical probably way to do it. So, I mean, I try to stay away from the term magical, but if someone trusts this process, they will be successful.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
now, the family and friends, overall, the kind of like person's own support system that can create a problem. How much does family and social support affect program retention?
I think significantly. If patients are surrounded by skepticism and sabotage, then they can internalize doubt, And then, bariatric surgery does require you to have enough support at home as well for you to be successful. Of course, the home situation is an extension to what society is as a whole, and society still views obesity as something related to personality or willpower as opposed to being a disease. Like you and I have discussed many times, if you told a family member that you had cancer, everybody would rush to support you, to make sure you go see a doctor, to make sure you follow up with your appointments, and they will come and visit you when you are in the hospital and so forth, right? But then if you tell them you're having surgery because of obesity, the view may change. And that's because they really don't understand that obesity itself requires treatment just like any other diseases. So if patients are surrounded by an atmosphere where there is no support for them, and even more than that there is skepticism about their decision, that there is actual sabotage for the things that they are trying to do, then it is very possible for them to withdraw as well and go back to their internal self and then just fight a solo fight, within themselves, which has not been successful for years and years, essentially. So we encourage in our program, actually, our patients to come with their loved ones to the consultation, to go to different sessions with their loved ones, to make sure their loved ones watch sessions like today, Bariatric Friday, so that they also are educated, right? A supportive family structure really goes a long way to help patients be successful.
Absolutely. So that's kind of like what one of the disadvantages morbid obesity has, the public awareness and understanding. Whether this is why Oprah was kind of in trouble, because she couldn't explain it. So we'll be helping her next week. But the issue is, this is a chronic issue.
Yes.
So it's there is a biological reason. And we are not saying every morbidly obese patient has the genetic issue, but most of them do.
Yeah.
So, the connection with the care team, we kind of discussed that, where we, at American Surgery Center, we have a personal care manager who's a nurse assigned to a patient. That's why we are almost at 85%, where the dropout rate is so low for us, where industry is about 55%. And the reason is we have daily reporting for case conference. Care managers are doing the hand-holding for the entire time. And yes, that does have a issue, but we want to make sure that other programs are able to implement these for them to be able to better serve for patients who are struggling.
Absolutely.
All right, so we have the fun part. So we're going to have are rated with Dr. Irgau. Ready or not, we are starting, right? Okay, so I see the screen. You don't, so
I
but you have
actually can
your
see it as
printout.
well on
Okay,
here.
good.
I can see it, yeah.
So, so I think Faith is working on her selections of these. I don't select them. So last week she was horrible with some of them. Comparison we did because we did like right. What was that? She had like it was like two separate food that she kind of put it as an option. So, but this is not that. This is about rating for these foods that I'm going to mention. So we start with the millet rice noodles.
5 out of 10. Definitely gluten-free, but it's mostly refined carbs, not much fiber or protein.
So remember, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. So this is 5.
Yep.
Gluten-free oatmeal.
I would say 7 out of 10. Good fiber, definitely, minerals, and also it's fairly filling when it's minimally processed.
But it's also important how it's being done, right? So those
Absolutely.
packet oatmeals are not same as like the old-fashioned cooking.
Exactly. So it has to be minimally processed for
Right,
it to be really
right.
beneficial.
So we don't want
Absolutely.
people to just go to like Happy Harry's and buy
Yeah.
a bunch of oatmeal. So that's not the one we are talking about. So cauliflower rice.
This is a good one. 9 out of 10. It has low calorie, low carb, high volume, so therefore very filling as well. Lots of micronutrients.
All right.
Highly recommended.
Next one. Sweet potato chips.
4 out of 10. Definitely it's a nutrient-dense vegetable, but the frying and the processing really brings the calories way up, and it's less filling. So not a very good choice.
And brown rice pasta.
I would say 6 out of 10. Definitely it has more fiber than white pasta, but it's still calorie dense, high glycemic index.
All right. Lettuce wrap burgers.
This is a good one. I would say 9 out of 10. High protein, low carbs, and obviously not having the bread, it avoids the refined carbs.
Yeah, and if it's a decent sized burger, especially, so it's pretty fulfilling. So that
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
don't have to have any bread.
Yeah, good protein, low carbs.
And some Asians are going to be upset with me, but Vietnamese summer rolls.
7 out of 10. Fresh veggies, herbs, and lean protein are all very good, but the rice paper adds the carbs, so that's how it lowers its.
So Ethan, the Filipinos don't do this,
To my knowledge, no. We will eat that, but
but you still call it Vietnamese.
yeah, we still
All right, so
unless I'm wrong.
all right, so gluten-free breaded chicken.
I would say 5 out of 10.
Ew.
Definitely, there is protein, but it's often ultra processed and fried, so that's not good. There are way better ways to
So the
cook
best
the
is
chicken.
not breaded.
Yeah, breaded and no.
All right, sushi.
7 out of 10.
Oh, come on, like we do it every Friday that we got. It's a
High
crime.
quality protein, definitely, and the omega-3 in the fish, but the white rice and the sauces actually bring the score down. So if you were to do sashimi, just
I was just going to say,
the sashimi, definitely it would go high.
like the sushi is with all the rice and other things,
And
and
then
sashimi is just the fish
The
itself.
fish, yeah, which
And
is good
that's-
quality essentially, fresh and
And a lot of people they
good
kind of because
protein.
it's not a cooked meal, so they think sashimi is not really great. But if it's a fresh place like the way that we get from Masamoto's on Totu, the proper amount of ginger and the wasabi and the soy sauce actually just brings the best taste out of it.
it does.
So
it
sashimi
does.
is one of the good ones
Yep.
and better than sushi most likely. So cassava flour wraps. What cassava?
I believe it's like a pliable type of tortilla,
Okay.
which is made up from the cassava plant. I would say 4 out of 10. Definitely, gluten free, but low in fiber and protein, and a definitely high glycemic index.
If I cannot pronounce, they're getting under 5. So All right, so that is the end of the Rated with Dr. Irgau. So this is not just a game; it's a really good way of kind of learning certain things because we use these on the shorts, and then I know a lot of people they just go through like swipe, 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 and they can actually probably in 10, 15 seconds they can learn 2, 3 different dishes and food that's
Absolutely.
healthy or not. So,
Absolutely.
and it's not done by anyone who is sponsored or who is
Nope.
benefiting from it. This is a licensed bariatric surgeon is rating these, and I hope people are finding these beneficial. So we are at the end of our episode today. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Gao.
Of course, my pleasure.
It's the foundation of our program is becoming the Bariatric Friday, and I hear it from so many different patients
Same here.
and other people that they are hearing and they are watching. They find this very helpful,
Yep.
and that's why we'll try to do better and better every time. And this was one of the fun episodes again. Next week, as I said, we are going to discuss another topic, and we'll be back here on Friday. And until next week, stay united. Bye bye.